Good evening, Messiah, and happy Monday. Welcome back to another edition of Falcon Update live on YBTV. I'm PJ Rydell.
And I'm Noah White. Messiah's financial aid disbursement saw a major policy change. Joining us live is Paul Callender with more.
Well, PJ, Noah, effective immediately, a vast majority of institutional scholarships will not require a minimum GPA requirement in order for students to be able to keep them.
This policy change is big, but students who've attended Messiah since the beginning of the pandemic may not find this change surprising.
At the end of that academic year, we realized that a lot of students struggled with the virtual learning environment and just weren't able to do as well academically as they would have if we had all stayed on campus.
But as the pandemic carried on longer than most anticipated, the wave on this policy remained, and many began to debate whether or not it was worth keeping.
We surveyed some of our competitor institutions about what their practices were, and we talked with various constituents on our campus about how this affected the populations that they work with. And ultimately, we just decided that once a student comes and enrolls at Messiah and they've been awarded a certain scholarship, they will pretty much be guaranteed to keep that scholarship.
The Financial Aid Office hopes this will be a positive change for students.
It's hard to see how most people wouldn't be excited about not having to worry about this.
But this change does not negate the need to continue to do well in classes.
There is still this thing called satisfactory academic progress. It's first in place because it's a federal and state requirement. We have to have some kind of minimum standards to award the government-based financial aid programs. But we also think it still makes sense that a student should meet some kind of minimum standard to get any kind of financial aid.
And just one more thing to keep in mind, too, is that a vast majority of students really weren't affected by this at all, and it was only really ever a small minority that really just couldn't meet the mark for their GPA scholarship requirement. So overall, this is a win-win for a lot of students and financial services, too. But if you're struggling and you need help, financial aid and financial services are always a phone call or an email away. Outside the Campus Phipps Admissions Welcome Center, I'm Paul Callender, sending you back to the desk.
Thanks so much, Paul. Messiah's Human Rights Awareness Club, or HRA, held a collage night in Boyer 322 this past Wednesday. The event was held in order to bring awareness to civil unrest in Iran and the anti-government protest moments that have been a part of Iran's post-revolutionary history since 1979. The group shared snacks, created magazine collages, and watched news reports from the area to further educate themselves on the current situation. If this interests you, be sure to check out the events calendar on Falcon Link to see when HRA meets next.
Students and staff involved in sustainability had the opportunity to hear from Messiah's Senior Administrative Programmer, Lynn Taylor, as she talked about her DIY tiny home that she creates and takes with her to travel. Lynn provided a presentation that showcased all of the elements of her tiny home, as well as gave students and staff a tour of the van. If you're interested in hearing more about her tiny home, visit her YouTube channel, Tumble Ridge on the Road.
Many Messiah students have emotional support animals on campus for the betterment of their mental health. Riley Williams met a few more of those unique emotional support animals.
My name is Malkiah Bailey. I am a junior nursing major, sort of junior, but I am a nursing major. This is Nandi.
Nandi is an emotional support ball python. Emotional support animals, or ESAs, are not hard to come by here at Messiah, and they come in all shapes and sizes. The most common animals kept on campus are cats, but there are even more non-traditional animals such as snakes and bearded dragons.
Initial steps were pretty easy. I just had to talk to my doctor about how it was, how taking care of Nandi helped me with my mental health. And so I had my doctor write fill out a form, basically saying that that she would approve that Nandi helps me. And then I brought it here to campus and talked to Amy Slody in the Office of Academic Accessibility.
While many schools do require this, Messiah does not ask on-campus ESAs to be registered with the state in order to approve them, making the process of getting an ESA much easier for students. Students looking to apply for an ESA should contact the Office of Academic Accessibility to learn what steps they need to take. For YBTV, I'm Riley Williams.
Engineering students across campus came together in the basement of Fry to a meeting of the Collaboratory. Giving Messiah engineers the chance to work more closely with their professors, the Collab is a program on campus that has students working on real-world issues that affect smaller international communities. They work to create simplified technologies that can both be used possibly and remade by people who don't have the same access to resources that we do. Wednesday was an introduction to the leadership in the Collaboratory, so we asked Riley Haro, one of those leaders, what the goals for their semester are.
And so what we were doing was essentially telling them what that leadership role would entail. So if you're in student board, if you're a discipleship community leader, so helping out with chapel, what are the impacts you can make as a student on what the faculty will do in the department?
Interesting to see how both practical working experience and good purpose are brought together here in the Collaboratory.
There's also a new sport taking campus by storm. Let's go to Emma Dingus to hear more about it.
Pickleball is the newest sport to take Messiah's campus by storm. It is a mix of tennis and badminton. All you need to play is a racket, ball, and net.
I've been playing for about 2 years now. I got introduced to it my sophomore year here. Obviously with COVID and stuff, it's like one of the things we could have done. And it's so easy. It's very inclusive. All ages can play it usually.
Even though the game hasn't been on campus for long, it has already quickly gained the interest of many students and faculty.
The idea of pickleball first came around when Kevin, my boss, was talking about new ways we could bring not only students together but also employees, as there is a big community that's up and coming and enjoys to play pickleball. So we wanted to find unique ways that we could bring it onto campus. We hope to offer even more sports leagues and also tournaments to just increase the numbers that we have for people to come out and play. So we hope that the more people that can come out and play, that they would invite their friends to come out and play, because it truly is a recreational sport for everyone to enjoy.
Reporting for YBTV, I'm Emma Dingus.
This weekend, Messiah's Young Life Club took a trip to Lake Champion in New York. Jessica Fannin was there to cover it. Let's see what the weekend had in store.
Hi, I'm Jessica Fannin, and I'm here on behalf of YBTV. I'm currently at Lake Champion with a Young Life Leadership Committee, and we are learning how to be Young Life leaders this weekend. Let's go check it out.
Hi, I'm Lily. I'm a first year at Messiah. To me, Young Life is an organization who goes to unchurched kids and brings those to Christ who would never think to have a relationship with Christ. So why are we here? That is a great question. We are leaders in training or people who are just more interested to learn about what Young Life is about. And we are just here to learn how to either be leaders or, again, learn more about what Young Life actually does and like the logistics that go behind it and being a leader. And I also just really learned more of like the self-discipline that comes into like actually being a Christian, like growing your relationship with God. And I seriously learned like you can't be a good leader if you're pouring from an empty cup.
Thanks Thank you so much for joining us for our Young Life Leadership Committee weekend. It has been such a joy. For YBTV, I'm Jessica Fannin.
Thanks, Jess. That sure looked like the place to be. After the break, we'll hear this week's forecast, the vault, and much more.
Stick around. We'll be right back with more Falcon Update live on YBTV.
A student would want to study the finance major here at Messiah for several reasons. Students here are working and practicing in a setting in our finance lab with technology that they're going to use when they leave here and work in the field. And so our students are certified in Bloomberg. In addition, in several classes, our students are actually performing consulting projects with local financial and investing firms.
I think the biggest thing that surprised me about coming for the finance major here was just the scope that you get in all the different classes. So anything from corporate finance to portfolio management and security analysis, you touch on everything. Getting into investment club was something I really was looking forward to coming here to Messiah. I knew from very early on I wanted to get involved.
There's nothing wrong with going out, being successful, making money, but not allowing money to have a higher place in your life than God. So our goal is to get our students started off on their career path quicker and better positioned than any of their peers.
Welcome back to Falcon Update. Let's toss it to Nate for this week's forecast. Nate?
Thanks, Noah. Welcome back to Falcon Forecast. I'm Nathan Harlacher. Now, as we all know, the cold along with the wind chill got a bit brutal towards the end of the week last week, especially on Friday. Fortunately for this week, it looks like we won't nearly get to the temperatures we saw on Friday at all. Earlier today, we saw a high of 46 around midday, and we are currently sitting around 38 degrees. The temperatures will drop just below freezing tonight with a low of 31. Tomorrow looks just about the same as today, with a high of 46 and partly cloudy, with a low of 25 into the night. On Wednesday, the temperatures will slowly get a bit higher as we will reach the 50s, with a high of 51, with cloudy skies and a low of 31. On Thursday, we are likely to see a bit of rain, but rather warmer temperatures. We'll see a high around 60 degrees between 3 and 5 p.m., and a low of 37, with an 80% chance of rain throughout the day. On Friday, we should stay dry for the most part, with a high of 52.
Unfortunately, some technical difficulties and some things you don't like to see. Speaking of things you didn't like to see, how cold it was last week. I don't know about you, I'm not a big fan of winter.
Yeah, it's a little chilly, PJ, and let me tell you, I saw you wearing a tight fit shirt. Not too good this week, I'll tell you that.
No, not a fan of the cold. Still getting the feeling back in my face from the wind chill on my walk to Boyer. And speaking of walking to Boyer, we know someone who knows a little bit about Boyer and who the building's named after. Let's toss it to Kelly as she delivers you this week's episode of The Vault.
Every day, the halls of Boyer are filled with students hustling and bustling to their classes. But who was Mr. Boyer and why does he deserve a building?
Ernest L. Boyer was a student at Messiah Academy. He stayed for 2 years, met his wife Kay, and then completed his undergrad at Greenville, where he would room with future Messiah president D. Ray Hostetter. Boyer would go on to get his master's and PhD while holding various faculty positions at institutions like Upland College, University of California, Santa Barbara, and Loyola. In the 1970s, he made his way to New York State, becoming Chancellor of Education, until 1977, when U.S. President Jimmy Carter would call upon Boyer to serve as the U.S. Commissioner of Education. Throughout his career, he won a plethora of awards for his diligence to provide equal and hands-on education across America. He would continuously focus his discourse on expanding and enriching public education up until his untimely death in 1995 at the age of 67.
Boyer Hall stands for everything that Dr. Boyer believed in and worked hard for. We continue to honor his legacy and memory by coming here every day and pursuing our education, whether that's through hands-on or within the classroom. That's all for this week. Make sure to tune in next week for when I unlock the vault.
Thanks, Kelly. Let's see what it entails to be part of the Athletic Communications Department.
Every day, the halls of Boyer.
Welcome to this week's Bird's Eye View, where I will be producing a wrestling match for NCAA and GoMessiah.tv. So this is what we call a TriCaster. This may seem like a lot, but really it's only a select buttons that we do use. Since we only have 2 cameras, there's only 2 buttons up front that we would use, and we can program it, which means it'll go on air, or preview it, which means we only see it before it goes on air. On the TriCaster, we have a 3-play, which controls the highlights, and that will also go up on the video board as well. All right, ready, 2, take 2.
We're coming this evening, and we do well.
Love that shot. Awesome. So this right here is our video board, which controls everything on the big screen. For the first button up here, it controls the live stream, which is what we can put on the video board. Whereas this button right here, which is what we have right now, is the pregame graphic. My job as well is to control the laptop, which not only contains just the scoreboard itself for what the viewers see at home, but also the time, the clock, and the teams that are playing.
Hi, my name is Ethan Gregory, and I'm on camera 2 today for GoMessiah.com. Camera 2, we work on our intricate displays and trying to get close-ups of the wrestlers and any other sport.
And that's all for this week's Bird's Eye View. Make sure to tune in next week to see what we unpack in next week's Bird's Eye View.
Nathan Harlacher, he does it all. We got another busy week coming up here on campus, and Brandon Cruz brings you this week's campus calendar. Brandon?
Hello, Messiah University. I'm Brandon Cruz, and welcome to this week's edition of Campus Calendar. Let's take a look at some events happening around campus for the upcoming week. On Wednesday nights from 8:30 to 9:30 p.m., the Swing Dance Club will be hosting swing dance lessons in the Falcon Fitness Center exercise room. There's a sign-up sheet sent out by the club every Monday, so email swingdanceclub@messiah.edu to be added to the email list. SIB will be sending out a link for this month's online trivia on Thursday night via a mass email and on their Instagram page. The trivia topic will be The Office, so make sure to register and use your full name so you can get your prize. On Friday afternoon, the Office of Sustainability will be hosting Valentine's Day card making, where students can make sustainable Valentine's Day cards for their friends and/or family. Later on in the night, SAB will be hosting the Vinyl Expo in the Jordan Lounge. The event celebrates all things vinyl, so bring your records to paint, swap, or play. On Saturday afternoon, SAB will be hosting a Valentine's Day brunch in the Jordan Lounge. The brunch starts at 11 o'clock a.m. Finally, on Saturday night, the Performing Arts Series presents the vocal ensemble Vaucase 8. The performance will be at 7:30 p.m. in Palmer Hall, and tickets cost $20 for adults and $5 for students with a Messiah University ID. And that is all for this week's edition of Campus Calendar, and I hope to see you all at some of these events later on this week. For YBTV, I'm Brandon Cruz.
Thanks, Brandon. The Super Bowl is less than a week away. Hayward Smith Cassidy asked Messiah students who they think will hoist the Lombardi. Hayward?
Welcome back to Falcon on the Street. This week we are asking students who their favorite seasonal team is and who do they believe is going to win the Super Bowl.
Eagles, go Birds.
I think the Eagles will win 99-3 in the Super Bowl.
My favorite teams for every sport is for Pittsburgh. Now, who I want to win this Super Bowl season? Well, I'm not a fan of Kansas City Chiefs, their main coach, and I'm certainly not an Eagles fan at all. So, but I still have to root. I guess I'll root for the Chiefs.
Go Birds! Go Birds! E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
I think I am going to root for the Kansas City Chiefs, and there is a reason for that. One of my high school friends is the head trainer of the Kansas City Chiefs. He's from Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
So my favorite team is the Giants, and in a Super Bowl, I don't like either of the teams, so go Giants!
My favorite in-season team is the Denver Broncos, and I think the Eagles are probably going to win, but I got to root for the AFC team, so go Chiefs.
We've had a lot of good answers today. The Chiefs or the Eagles? Personally, I'm rooting for the Eagles. Signing off for Yellow Breeches TV, this is Hayward Smith Cassidy. Hey, can I ask you a question? Hey, Eagles or Chiefs? Eagles or Chiefs? Eagles or Chiefs?
Thanks, Hayward. Well, I'm with Officer Liz about being a Steelers fan, as I make it no secret, but I have to disagree with her. I'm saying go Birds with this one. What do you think?
Listen, PJ, there's teams that I like in this game, but I'm like Drake when it comes to picking a team. I don't want to jinx anybody. So, that being said, go Birds.
Got the hot takes from Noah White, but that's not all the sports takes that we'll have. That's all for the news. Right after the break, Emma and Jorge will be here to deliver you Messiah Sports, the Falcons. We will be right back.
I grew up creative, always drawing, Legos, played a ton of Legos from the time I could start putting them together. When I got into school, I thought I was going to be a painter, and then I thought I was going to be a graphic designer, but it wasn't until I took my first foundations of art class, 3D design, where I was carving a salt block, just a little carpenter chisel, and I stuck it underneath the water, and it kind of started deteriorating, and I loved it, and it felt comfortable, and it felt right, and that's when I realized that 3D is where I belong. Sculpture is what I needed to pursue. If you feel that passion in your belly, if you wake up and you got to make something, if you grab a paper clip and you manipulate it into some form, or you're doodling in your sketchbook, or everything you do you see through a more creative side, then listen to that spirit talking in you and follow it. And for that young artist, it's hard and it's difficult, but you got to just keep on doing it. You got to just keep on doing it. We were all there. We want to hang out with you. We want you to look over our shoulder and watch us cut this piece. Ask us that question. Don't be scared. Everybody has that starting point.
Good evening and welcome back to Falcon Update in YBTV Sports. I'm Emma Dingus.
And I'm Jorge Zambrano, here to bring you the latest on Messiah Sports. Messiah Athletics recently inducted 7 members into the Hall of Honor, including Chris Heisey. Heisey set several program records in 3 years playing here at Messiah and went on to become the only Messiah alum to play in the major leagues. His journey from the Messiah majors may surprise you, Our very own PJ Rydell has the opportunity to talk to Heisey about the journey that has led him to his induction.
Our next inductee, Chris Heisey.
You can now add a 2023 Messiah Hall of Honor induction to Chris Heisey's list of career achievements as the former big leaguer for the Cincinnati Reds, Los Angeles Dodgers, and Washington Nationals is cemented in Messiah's athletics history forever. But for Heisey, it wasn't baseball that brought him to Grantham.
Our assistant coach, he was a second grade teacher. That's where I got the passion to want to be a school teacher, and then Messiah had a very good education program. When I went to Messiah, I was planning on just playing my 4 years of baseball, and that was probably going to be it.
The idea of making it to the MLB didn't become realistic to Heisey until junior year, the same year he would be drafted.
My junior year, scouts started to show up at Messiah for our games, and that's kind of when I knew that there was a chance of playing professional.
His dreams would be realized with that year's draft, as he was selected in the 17th round by the Reds. His dream of the big stage would be realized a few years later with a call in 2010.
And I didn't answer because I was talking to my brother, and then I got the same call again, and it was my AAA coach, and he was funny. He's like, "Hey, why don't you answer your phone? I'm trying to tell you you're going to the major leagues."
Through 8 years in the MLB, some memories stand out more than others.
So I went 1 for 10 in the playoffs, but my very last one was with the Nationals in 16. I hit a 2-run home run in Game 5 against the Dodgers. The buzz in the crowd after I hit the home run. That's probably my single best moment where I was probably the most elated on the baseball field for my career.
And as the only Messiah alum to play in the MLB, he hopes that another will join him someday.
I'm honored to be the first baseball player inducted to the Hall of Honor, and I hope that more will be inducted in the future.
Current head coach Phil Schallenberger can't overstate the impact of Heisey's continued involvement with the program.
Having Chris not only as a part of our program, but as a friend has just been a really incredible experience for our guys. Such a blessing to have somebody like that.
For YBTV, I'm PJ Rydell.
Thank you, PJ. Now it's time for the Falcon Four. We're going to start our highlights off on the mat this week as the wrestling team took on the Gettysburg Bullets this past weekend. In the 157 weight class, Garrett Cornell delivered an excellent performance. As you can see, Cornell is trying to pull his wrestler opponent down into the spladle, and for the pin. On the replay, you can see how he's grabbing for that back leg there to kind of help use his leverage to pull him down into the position. And he does it, and he gets the pin nice and early on in the set. Unfortunately, the Falcons would go on to lose the match 20-19, but now are looking to their next matchup against Elizabethtown this Friday.
Now we're going to take things on the road where the men's basketball team faced off against Hood College. The thrilling game ultimately resulted in a 71-69 loss over the Falcons, but was a career-high night for forward Tyler Penley, who dropped 27 points and 13 rebounds on the Blazers. Early in the second half, Penley delivered a long three-point shot to try and close the Hood's lead. Here we see Couper's in the center by the paint, kind of loses the ball, but there's Penley to save it. Ball is passed back to him, and a quick shot in the face of the defender. Good for a three. Let's take a look at the replay there. Defender couldn't do anything about him there. Didn't know what was going on. Ball goes through. And the Falcons will again go to the road to face Alvernia this Wednesday.
We're going to head back to Hitchcock Arena for this next play from the men's volleyball team, where they faced off against Rutgers Newark. It was a thrilling win that produced enough highlights to have its own Falcon 4, but we wanted to highlight a kill that came from Connor Stauffer in the second set of the match. As you can see, comes off the serve from Nisley for Stauffer to just deliver that kill right onto him. As you can see, it's coming up, and he's just able to perfectly place it in between the Rutgers players, and they celebrate after it. The Falcons would go on the road to Geneva College and fall short of the St. John's Fisher University, resulting in their first loss of the season.
For our final highlight, we're going back to Hood College, where the women's basketball team continued their 16-game win streak in a dominating 70-52 win against the Blazers. In the late fourth quarter, Sydney Hoffman showed off some very impressive footwork. Here we see the ball passed over to Hoffman as she dribbles over to the paint. Nice spin move, step back, and the shot. Beautiful. See the replay there, spin move. breaking some ankles. The shot goes in cleanly. The Falcons improved to 19-2 on the season and continue to dominate MAC Commonwealth opponents with an impressive 12-0 record against them. Messiah looks to hold the #1 seed over the last 4 games of the regular season.
Well, that does it for the Falcon 4 and YBTV Sports on Falcon Update. But don't go anywhere, because after the break is a new episode of YB Tonight. Keep it here on YBTV.
Forests bring people together, feed the soul, and improve our well-being, cleaning the water we need, the air we breathe, and making our climate livable. Fires and natural disasters devastate our forests each year. That's why the Arbor Day Foundation is working to replant millions of trees across the country. Visit arborday.org and see how you can help.
So people ask me what kind of companies hire electrical computer engineers. Basically, if you plug it in or it has a battery in it, electrical engineers were involved. Every Messiah engineering student is guaranteed an internship with an on-campus organization called the Collaboratory. The Collaboratory's business model is that it pairs student teams with either faculty mentors or outside professionals to work on systems that either care for the earth or help disadvantaged people around the world. One of our more successful projects is a project that involves facilitating use of limited electric power called EMMS.
So I am the student project manager of the MMS team, and so what that means is that I head up a team of students and industry volunteers who are developing a system that makes it possible for schools and medical clinics to be able to efficiently share their limited solar power resources. Just the faculty and the way that they interact with the students to help them grow is such a powerful thing.
Good evening and welcome to YB Tonight Live. I'm your host, James Hellman. Tonight we'll have a performance by Shira Mark. She will be giving us a performance on the flute, and then after that we'll be interviewing the president of the Earthkeepers Club, Hannah Ryan. Stay with us, we'll be right back to YB Tonight Live.
Oh, hi. I suppose you're wondering what an A-list celebrity like me is doing in a place like this. You must know, I'm saving the world. Oh, hi, Beth. Yep, saving the world again. Did you know that 40% of all the food produced in the United States is thrown away? That means everything that went into that food, the pesticides, the water, the land, was all for nothing. Just look at this perfectly good food thrown in the trash. The pizza with extra Cheerios, these goldfish and Band-Aid tacos. And just look at this perfect trash burger. This pasta dog looks delicious.
You don't have to dumpster dive like Ed Begley Jr. to save the planet. Fight food waste by shopping smart and using what you buy before it gets trashed.
That's way better. Ooh, arugula.
Do your part. and find out other world-saving tips at betterthaned.org.
Welcome back to YB Tonight. I'm James Hellman, here with Shira Mark. Shira, take it away. That was beautiful. I am really blown away. But right now we have to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll sit down with Shira and chat how she became the flute player she is today.
I grew up creative, always drawing. Legos, played a ton of Legos from the time I could start putting them together. When I got into school, I thought I was going to be a painter, and then I thought I was going to be a graphic designer. But it wasn't until I took my first foundations of art class, 3D design, where I was carving a salt block, just a little carpenter chisel. And I stuck it underneath the water, and it kind of started deteriorating, and I loved it, and it felt comfortable, and it felt right, and And that's when I realized that, 3D is where I belong. Sculpture is what I needed to pursue. If you feel that passion in your belly, if you wake up and you gotta make something, if you grab the paper clip and you manipulate it into some form, or you're doodling in your sketchbook, or everything you do you see through a more creative side, then listen to that spirit talking in you and follow it. And for that young artist, it's hard and it's difficult, but you got to just keep on doing it. You got to just keep on doing it. We were all there. We want to hang out with you. We want you to look over our shoulder and watch us cut this piece. Ask us that question. Don't be scared. Everybody has that starting point.
Welcome back to YB Tonight. I'm James Hellman here with Shira Mark. Shira, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing, pretty good. That was a great performance that you gave us right there. It really blew us all away. So tell me a little bit about yourself and with the flute.
Well, I'm from West Hartford, Connecticut, and I am a first year majoring in public relations. I've been playing flute for 9 years, and I'm also a certified ski instructor, and I used to be a dog walker.
Wow, so a lot of different avenues and talents that you have there. Why did you choose to play the flute as your instrument?
Well, I remember in 4th grade, we had to write down 3 instruments we wanted to play. And I remember writing down flute, flute, and flute because I just really wanted to play a flute. And my mom also played the flute in high school, so I wanted to be like her.
All right, so playing the flute then, what has been your most memorable experience while playing the flute?
Probably the competition I won. It was the Windham Young Artist Music Competition. I remember after my performance that I saw the judges conversing and all that, and I was so nervous of what they were going to say and all that. And then when my name was called for first place, I was like so in shock. And then I also got the opportunity to play with the Willimantic Orchestra, a concerto solo, because of the grand prize that I won. So that was one of the most memorable experiences. And I got to wear this like big ball gown and all that, and it was pretty neat.
So have you played in a lot of competitions or just that one?
I played in, well, I've done like competitions as in like auditions to do other stuff, because I did all states and I got top 3 in the state. So in the sense of that, yeah, but that was my first like real competition.
Gotcha. And how has playing the flute shaped you into the person that you are today?
Well, flute is, or music in general, is very interpretive, which you need a lot of creativity to do that, and I feel like it's really helped me be more creative and express my emotions through music, because it's just notes on a page. So the musician really has to interpret that. So, yeah.
All right, then for anyone who would maybe want to pick up the flute in the future, what would you say are a few of the keys to doing so?
I would definitely say take lessons and practice, especially lessons, because I remember in the 4th grade I was really bad at the flute, and like I was the worst in my section, and then I wanted to give up, but then I started getting lessons, and then I became the principal flutist, and I just kept working hard, and I got like into regionals and all that, and got principal flutist for middle school and high school, and lessons are key. That's how you learn the right techniques and all that. So.
And then all your lessons have led you here to Messiah. And what has the musical experience been like at Messiah here in your short time?
It's been good. I've been with a lot of ensembles, like the band and the flute choir, and I'm going to be doing the pit in the springtime. So I've also been doing lessons here at Messiah as well. So yeah.
And then here at Messiah, are there any other avenues that you'd be looking to get into besides just ensembles, such as maybe solos or joining other competitions here at more of a collegiate level?
Yeah, I've actually asked my flute teacher about competitions in the area. So one thing she was talking about was the Harrisburg orchestral competition, I believe. And I might be involved in that later, maybe in the fall or something, but yeah.
So it's your first year Messiah still, so have you just kind of like started some beginner flute classes, or are there other ensembles that maybe are more experienced or intense that you'd be looking to get into?
I've been wanting to do the jazz band at Messiah, but unfortunately there's no flutes in the jazz band, but I've been thinking of creating my own jazz ensemble so that flutes can do jazz music, because I think flutes have a lot of potential for jazz. It's not just the brass. The brass is always the ones who get the jazz, but flutes have potential for jazz. So.
Gotcha. So you said starting this jazz band. Have you kind of like taken a leadership role in any other musical groups you've been a part of before?
Oh yeah, I've led a wind quintet in my high school, and I've always been like principal chair and leading sectionals for my high school and regionals, and I think one time in All-State I was like a co-leader for a sectional, so I've done a lot of like teaching, and I've also been a co-teacher for flute lessons at the public schools in my town. So. Yeah.
And then here at Messiah, how have you grown in your skill set as a flute player?
I've grown a lot more in my technique because the lessons are more focused to that. A lot in my high school, I just played etudes and concerto solos, but now I have to focus more on the scales and preparations for those scales and techniques and like airflow and vibrato and all that. So it's a lot more focused on the technique here. So.
And then so that technique, then would you say that is focusing on the technique is a little bit more difficult than just having to like kind of look at the music as you would in high school and just pick it up?
Yeah, I mean it's a little different because I'm not used to all the technique. I used to do a little bit of technique and then like my etudes, but now it's like, oh, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, and like trying to fix it, and it just really makes me a better player, which that's how I've grown at Messiah. She picks out all the tiny mistakes.
So then going along with that technique, so in what ways do you hope to grow as a musician in your time at Messiah and then after Messiah?
Well, I hope to possibly minor in music at Messiah, and I also want to hopefully learn more about jazz bands and jazz music and what I can do as a flutist to become a lot better at jazz, not just improvisation, but like different genres of music in jazz. Because I usually play like Duke Ellington and all that, but I should branch out with that.
So you want to minor? You said you want to minor in music. So then, the flute here, Messiah, is it just something that you do as kind of a hobby? It's not your minor or your major?
Yeah, right now it's more of a hobby, but I am very involved in the ensembles here, and I'm going to be doing pit orchestra in the spring, which is going to take up like a lot of my time. So I'm usually at the high center for most of my afternoons. So yeah.
Well, Shira, thank you for joining us. I'm James Hellman, but after the break, we'll learn more about Messiah's very own Earth Keepers Club. Don't go away. YB Tonight will be right back.
We don't want our students to feel like they have to wait until they've graduated to start serving and meeting the needs of society. So we want students to have an opportunity to work on projects that meet real needs even while they're students in the program. Messiah students are exciting to work with because they understand that God has uniquely gifted them to do something, and they're excited to follow Him in that and to follow Him in their careers.
One of my best moments as a student here at Messiah was when I was traveling to Mexico with a collaboratory.
The collaboratory's business model is that it pairs student teams with either faculty mentors or outside professionals to work on systems that either care for the earth or help disadvantaged people around the world.
I learned so many amazing things about just cultural differences and how to adapt and work alongside, not just how to help someone else, but how to empower them to further their lives and also advance my academics in the process. So that is by far one of my favorite memories from Messiah.
Welcome back to YB Tonight. I'm James Hellman, and I'm now joined by the president of the Earth Keepers Club, Hannah Ryan. Hannah, how are you doing tonight?
Doing really well. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Tell me a little bit about the Earth Keepers Club.
Yeah, so Earth Keepers is Messiah's environmental organization. We're kind of a branch of the Office of Sustainability, but we're the club and they're not. And we engage in thoughtful conversation and just discussion, and also plan various events around campus to just include the campus in environmental activism.
So what has your involvement been in the club so far with your time at Messiah?
Yeah, so my first year I was an active member and I was just going to meetings and learning more about what the club does. And my second semester of my sophomore year I got asked to be the vice president, and then I became the president this year.
And what made you want to join the Earth Keepers Club here at Messiah?
Yeah, so I really love the mission of active engagement with our environment, and I feel like it's a really great way for Messiah students to just really care about the earth and show that we love the creation that God has given us. And so I just love it, and I'm just super passionate about the mission.
So for a new student at Messiah who might be looking to join some clubs around campus, what would you say a typical meeting of the Earth Keepers Club looks like?
Yeah. So it kind of varies. We meet bi-weekly, and so we usually gather in Boyer and just have a discussion about various earth-keeping topics. So we've covered anything from land acknowledgement to recycling to the general education requirements on campus. And I usually present a PowerPoint, and we watch videos or TED Talks and have different discussion points and just time to talk.
So how is the Earth Keepers Club impacting the general Messiah community?
Yeah, I have a feeling that it's reaching a larger audience and providing an engaging way to just make sustainability attainable for all students, and just be a really great way for students to get involved with things that might seem really scary or really unattainable, and just provide active involvement and really engaging events and just really thoughtful discussions that are hopefully thought-provoking, and then allow them to take these practices that we learn in these meetings back into their lives as college students, and then also give them to their families and friends back home.
As a club right now on campus then, do you have any minor or major events planned for the upcoming future?
We have a few going on. Yep, we're going to be planting some DIY bird feeders, so we're just gonna hollow out some oranges and put some bird seed in there and hopefully attract some of the birds that'll be coming over for this spring. And then also for the upcoming April month, which will be Earth Month, we'll be doing some eco-poetry readings in the loft, as well as some trash pickups, and also well as the Lisburn Road cleanup, which we'll do, and we walk down to the stop sign at Lisburn Road and then walk back to campus and pick up trash along the way. Yeah, and we'll also do a documentary, a movie night. We're not really sure what yet, but we'll make sure to get that out. We're also supporting the Messiah Office of Sustainability in Campus Race to Zero Waste, and so you'll see a lot of our members from Earthkeepers at those events.
So what kind of people might be looking to join the Earthkeepers Club?
Yeah, we welcome any major with any amount of interest in earthkeeping or sustainability in general. It tends to be a lot of people in humanities majors and as well as environmental science, just because they tend to have the most interest. But we absolutely love and welcome anyone who's willing to come.
And then what is the one thing that you have come to love the most about the club during your 3 years now in the Earthkeepers Club?
Yeah. I just love getting to talk with so many people about so many different topics, and I love hearing that people can be so passionate about things that they know little about but are so curious. I just love hearing how God is working in all of their lives, and just planting these seeds in their hearts to just take better care of the earth, and getting to engage in really thoughtful discussion outside of the classroom about these really important things is just so wonderful.
As the president now of the Earthkeepers Club, what are some ways that you're looking to grow and expand the club this semester and in the future?
Yeah, I would love to just have more events on campus, as well as just have more attendees at those events. I love connecting with people, and I love talking about the earth, and it would just be great to get some more people on our floors and in our meetings. And yeah, we'd love to plan more events that people come to and that people love, and engage in really great discussions in our meetings.
Well, Hannah, thank you for joining us again tonight and telling everyone that might not know about the Earthkeepers Club a little bit more, and hopefully there will be some people that come out and get involved. It sounds like a really great community of people that you guys have there.
Thanks so much.
That's it for this week's episode of YB Tonight. Thank you for watching YBTV, and tune in next Monday at 7 for more. On behalf of myself and the entire YBTV crew, have a good week, Messiah University.